How much does it cost to get on the first page of Google? If you've ever asked an agency that exact question and walked away more confused than when you started, well, you're not alone. Most agencies seem to talk around it. They will mention variables. They'll say that it depends. They'll schedule a discovery call, and by the end, you don't even have a serious number. So I'm going to give you actual answers in this video. Real pricing, real ranges, and real timelines. And the thing that most people end up getting wrong when they're comparing their options. My name is Nathan Hawks. I run Arcane Marketing. We've been doing this for over 10 years now. We've worked with more than 1,000 businesses. And this is genuinely probably one of the most common questions we get. So let's just get to it. Let's answer it. How much does it cost to get on Google's first page? Unfortunately, it's not a super fast and very blunt answer, but I will answer the question in this video. So here's what we're going to cover right now. First, the two paths to Google's first page, because they're completely different and they end up getting lumped together constantly. And second, real pricing numbers for both and what actually drives those numbers either up or down. And then third, the timeline reality of what a lot of business owners just don't want to hear, but they need to. Then fourth, the question you should actually be asking, which is different from the one that most people start with. So let's go. All right, two paths. Google's first page has two zones, and most people don't think about them separately. That's where some of the confusion sets in. At the top of the results page, you get the paid ads. They're labeled sponsored now. These are Google ads and also referred to as PPC or pay-per-click. You bid to appear there, you pay every time that someone clicks. It's fast, it's controllable, and the moment you stop paying, well, you disappear. Below the ads, you've got the organic results. These are the rankings earned and not bought. They're based on how relevant and credible and authoritative Google considers your website to be when someone does a search. That process is called SEO, which is search engine optimization. And it takes longer to build, but once you've earned those rankings, they don't stop working the second your budget runs out. Two paths, very different cost structures, very different timelines, and for most businesses, they're not an either or situation. They're both. Let's talk about what each one actually costs. Google Ads is the fastest way to show up on page one. It's also the most misunderstood in terms of what it actually costs. Here's how the pricing works. You pay every time that someone clicks on your ad. The cost of that click depends on how competitive your keyword is and with what industry you're in. For a lot of general business terms, you might expect to pay $5 to $9 a click. For healthcare, legal, or financial services, keywords that are attracting a high-value customers, you're often paying more like 10 or 20, 30, or even more per click, and some specialized term will go well above $50 a click. So if your budget is only $1,500 a month and your average cost per click is $15, well, you're only able to get roughly 100 clicks. Whether that's a good deal depends entirely on what those clicks are worth to your business. On top of your ad spend, you're working with an agency to manage those campaigns. Well, that's an additional cost. So typically you're going to find most agencies charge $500 to $2,000 or more per month, depending on the scope. Now here's the thing I want you to understand about Google Ads. It's like a faucet. You turn it on and the leads come in. You turn it off and leads stop. That's not criticism, that's just the nature of it. For businesses that need results quickly or that want to test a new market before committing to a longer strategy, well, PPC makes a lot of sense. For our PPC clients, Arcane Marketing averages about $4.14 back for every $1 spent after about 4 months or more under our management. That return is totally achievable. It just requires consistent, intelligent execution. But if you want something that builds over time and doesn't require you to keep the faucet running forever, well, that's where organic SEO comes in. Organic SEO is the long game. And the long game has become kind of the euphemism for slow and expensive, and you don't know if it's working for a little while. That framing is usually wrong. And here's a more accurate version. SEO is building and compounding as an asset over time. The work that you put in now pays off in 6 months, or sometimes 12 months, or in 3 years, in a way that Google ad you ran last Tuesday just doesn't. Well, what does it cost? Let me give you some real ranges. For a basic, very basic SEO engagement at a reputable agency, you're looking at around $1,500 or maybe $2,000 a month. That's a single location, a moderately competitive market, as someone who wants to show up better in local search and maps. For a competitive market, or if you're in healthcare with multiple service lines, you're more likely to be around $2,000 to $5,000 per month. And multi-location, healthcare groups, specialty practices in major metro areas, or businesses competing for high volume national terms will often expect to invest $5,000 to $10,000 or more per month. So what drives that number? Well, there's a few things. How competitive your market is, how many locations you're running, the current state of your website, and then there's cleanup work that might be needed from whatever has been done before. I'll be direct about the pricing on the lower end. If someone is quoting you something like $200 or $300 a month for SEO, they're either doing nothing or they're doing things that will just simply create problems for you down the road. Real SEO requires real, consistent, human-influenced work. That work costs money. For our clients who commit to doing SEO for 12 months or more, the average revenue increase from organic search is well over 320%, and oftentimes it's a lot more. Our average client stays with us for about 36 months, sometimes a lot longer. The industry average for an agency retention is about 5 months. That gap isn't a coincidence. So both paths have a real cost. But the question that most people are actually wrestling with isn't around the dollar amount, it's the timeline. So here's the thing that almost no one in this industry will say clearly. If you want fast results and you're not willing to pay for ads, you're gonna end up being disappointed with SEO. These two expectations just don't live in the same place. And we see this constantly. Someone comes to us and they've been burned by another agency, and they just want to be on page 1 of Google, and they have a 30-day window in their mind. And they don't want to run ads because they feel like that's cheating somehow, or they just don't want that ongoing ad spend. Yeah, we understand that. And I'm also going to tell you the truth. SEO just doesn't work that way. Typically, months 1 through 3, you're building a foundation. You've got technical fixes, you got content gaps that you need addressed, tracking to set up, and that's so you actually know what's working. That work is not glamorous, but it's necessary. You will not see dramatic results in the first 90 days. Then, month 3 through 6, the rankings really start moving. Impressions go up in Search Console, traffic is climbing, and usually it's very slowly at first. Then, months 6 through 12, well, this is where it all becomes real. First page rankings are on your primary terms, measurable increases in your leads, and the ROI starts showing up. Year 2 and beyond, it's compounding. The raw cost of a new patient or a customer goes way down. The rankings hold and they improve, and the asset keeps producing. The businesses that get the best results from SEO are the ones who treat it as a 12-month investment and stop expecting 30-day miracles. Anyone guaranteeing you first page results in 30 days is either targeting the wrong keywords that nobody searches, or they're telling you just what you want to hear. Neither of those is useful to your business. Okay, all of that brings me to the question you should actually be asking instead. Everyone comes in always asking, how much does it cost? And honestly, what a better question is, what's the return? Cost, well, that's a fixed number. A return determines whether that cost makes sense or not. So if you're a healthcare practice and a new patient is worth around $3,000 to your business over their lifetime, and a well-run SEO campaign drives 20 new patients a month, the math on $3,000 monthly SEO investment is just not complicated. If a $1,500 a month Google Ads campaign generates 15 new patient inquiries per month, and you close half of them, well, you're looking at roughly $200 cost per acquired patient. against a $3,000 lifetime value. That's a return most businesses would take any day. For most businesses, the real question is whether you can afford not to. So 90% of online experiences start with a search. If your competitors are on page 1 and you're on page 3, well, they're getting those calls. And that's not abstract, that's revenue. So here's where we land. 2 paths. Google Ads gets you there fast. Cost $2 to $50 or more per click, depending on your market, and requires an ongoing budget just to maintain. Organic SEO takes 6 to 12 months to build. Costs $1,000 to $10,000 per month, really depending on your situation, and compounds over a time that paid ads just don't. Most businesses benefit from both. And both require consistent, intelligent execution to produce a real return. If you're trying to figure out what either of these would look like in your specific market, well, that's exactly what Arcane Marketing does. We work primarily with healthcare practices, and we offer a free site audit where we look at your market, look at your current rankings, and tell you honestly what it would take for you to compete. No pitch decks, not a runaround, just the real picture. Links in the description. And if this was useful, there's a lot more where this came from. We cover healthcare marketing, SEO, AI search visibility, and what's actually working in digital marketing, not theory, actual execution.